across the endless white, carrying with it whispers, whispers of forgotten explorers and ancient creatures buried beneath timeless layers of ice. Captain Elias Gray stood at the bow of his ship, the Northern Star, his gloved hands gripping the frozen rail as he gazed into the vast, blinding expanse before him. The snow fell in delicate flakes, swirling and drifting like tiny weightless ghosts. Each flake melted against his warm cheeks, leaving behind fleeting traces of cold. The year was 1894, and the world still held mysteries waiting to be uncovered. The Arctic, with its shifting ice and treacherous beauty, was one of the last great unknowns. Most sailors feared these waters. Elias Gray did not. He loved them. Unlike the wealthy explorers backed by kings or queens, Elias came from humble beginnings. Born in a small fishing village on the rugged coast of northern Scotland, he grew up on stories of the sea. His father, a fisherman, taught him to read the sky like a map, to follow the movements of gulls to find fish, to taste the salt on the air and know if a storm was coming. But for Elias, it was not the rolling gray waves of the Atlantic that stirred his heart. It was the lure of the icy north. When he was 12, Elias found a battered leather journal in the attic of his grandfather's house. The journal belonged to a distant relative who had sailed with the whalers toward the edge of the polar sea. The faded handwriting spoke of towering icebergs glowing blue beneath the moon, of nights when the sky danced with shimmering curtains of green and purple light, and of strange echoes drifting across the ice, like the moans of giants sleeping beneath the snow. That journal became Elias's treasure. He read it by lamplight on stormy nights, tracing the faded ink with curious fingers, dreaming of frozen horizons beyond the reach of ordinary men. Years passed and Elias worked his way from cabin boy to deckhand, from deckhand to first mate, and finally to captain. His ship, the Northern Star, was not the largest nor the finest, but she was sturdy, her wooden hull reinforced with iron bands, her sails stitched by careful hands. Her decks creaked with every shift of the ice beneath them, and to Elias, that sound was more comforting than any song. Now, standing in the biting cold, Elias knew that the journey ahead would test them all. His goal was simple, yet daring, to sail farther north than any before, seeking the rumored hidden archipelago spoken of in whispers by Inuit hunters, an archipelago rich with wildlife, strange stones, and possibly remnants of a lost civilization. But Elias was not alone on this journey. His crew numbered 25. Among them were seasoned sailors, a young geographer named Edwin Thorne, and Dr. Amelia Finch, a brilliant medic with a sharp wit and a heart braver than most men Elias had ever known. Amelia stood beside him now, her face mostly hidden beneath layers of wool, but her steady eyes peering at the shifting horizon. "Cold enough for you yet, Captain?" she asked softly, her voice muffled by the scarf around her mouth. Elias smiled beneath his beard. "Colder than the devil's heart," he murmured, "and we've only just begun." Chapter 2. Into the Unknown. As days passed, the Northern Star drifted deeper into the icy embrace of the Arctic. The sun hung low on the horizon, barely rising before slipping back, below the curve of the world. Long shadows stretched across the endless fields of broken ice, and the sky wore soft hues of lavender and gold. Sometimes the auroras would appear, ribbons of pale green and purple, undulating silently in the heavens, as though the gods themselves were whispering secrets into the night. The crew remained busy, Ice had to be broken from the decks every morning, frost chipped from the rigging, ropes froze stiff, boots grew heavy with layers of ice, and yet there was a strange beauty in the cold. The ship creaked and moaned, its hull shivering like a living thing, each noise amplified in the vast, echoing silence of the polar world. At night, Elias would gather with his crew around the small stove in the captain's quarters. They shared hot tea and old stories of mermaids seen off distant coasts, of ghost ships drifting in fog, of sea serpents hiding beneath the dark waves. Edwin Thorne, the young geographer, was especially fond of tales of ancient civilizations, convinced that somewhere beyond the ice there lay forgotten kingdoms, waiting for their discovery. Amelia, however, was a steadying presence. Whenever fear crept into the sailor's heart, she was there with a quiet joke or a firm reassurance. Elias admired her deeply, not for any romantic reason, but because she shared his love of exploration, of seeing what lay beyond the edge of the known world. Then one day just before dawn, the lookout's cry echoed through the freezing mist. Land, land to the northeast. Elias rushed to the